The mission is simple: to help high achievers naturally eliminate emotional and physical obstacles so they can optimize their life for higher achievement. Welcome. You have just entered the Genesis Zone. Good day, and welcome to the Genesis Zone show. This is Dr. Brian Brown. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Thursday to join us. Today kicks off part one of a multi-part series that I'm doing on anti-aging. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing some of the latest research that has discovered an unknown role of one of our brain's most critical regulatory systems. Now, the region of the brain that I'm talking about is called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is like the control center of your brain that helps manage important bodily functions. It regulates things like body temperature, hunger, thirst, and even sleep patterns. It also acts as a messenger between your brain and various organ systems throughout your body, making sure that everything works together smoothly to keep you healthy and balanced. The hypothalamus plays a role in aging by influencing the body's response to various factors that impact the aging process. It helps regulate the release of hormones that control growth, metabolism, and stress responses, such as testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, thyroid, and yes, even your fat-soluble vitamins. As we age, changes in the hypothalamus can affect hormone production and the body's ability to manage stress, which can contribute to the overall aging process. Now, additionally, the hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary gland, which sits right underneath it, which is involved in producing and regulating many important hormones that can influence the age-related processes within your body. Now, think of the hypothalamus as the brain's traffic control system for stress responses. When you encounter a stressful situation, a stressful event, it sends signals to a neighboring gland, the pituitary gland, and this gland releases hormones that tell the adrenal glands, which sit on top of the kidneys, to produce two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Now, adrenaline gets you ready for immediate action. It boosts your heart rate. It causes your pupils to change and constrict. It increases energy levels. It even plays a role in releasing certain immune mediators within the body, so that if you get cut or injured during this thing that you're fighting or fleeing from, your immune system's already activated. Now, cortisol, on the other hand, helps your body deal with stress over a longer period of time. Now, unfortunately, we subject ourselves to stress on a level that was never meant to keep cortisol activated as long as we keep it activated now. But yet it happens. It's one of those old processes that was really meant to only be activated for a few hours, and we keep it activated for days, weeks, months, and years, which causes a lot of health problems within the body. Now, cortisol increases blood sugar levels and dampens some of the body's functions that aren't essential during the fight or flight response. Now, the hypothalamus, going back to the hypothalamus, keeps an eye on the levels of these hormones within the bloodstream. And when that stressful event is gone, and hopefully it goes away, it signals the body to calm down, slow down, and slow down the production of adrenaline and cortisol. Now, this regulation helps your body cope with stress and then return to a balanced state once the threat is passed. Now that we have a little background on how the hypothalamus works and what it does, let's move on to today's studies. Findings in this first study literally came out yesterday. Researchers at the University of Aberdeen discovered that the hypothalamus actually controls vitamin balancing in the body. Now, until now, we did not know that. This has been an unknown fact. Previously, it was thought that vitamins were pretty much regulated by the liver and kidneys in the body. Now, these researchers discovered that the hypothalamus, specifically in their research, because they only looked at one vitamin, they discovered vitamin A sensor cells, regulatory cells within the hypothalamus. And it was a crazy finding. They were shocked. And vitamin A is a vital nutrient. For those of you who don't know, it's a fat soluble vitamin, and it plays several important roles in the body. It's essential for maintaining healthy vision, especially in low light conditions, as it contributes to the functioning of the retina. Additionally, vitamin A is crucial for the health of your skin, helping to repair tissues and keep your skin moist and smooth. Moreover, vitamin A supports a healthy immune system by promoting the growth and differentiation of immune cells throughout the body, which helps defend your body against infection. It also is involved in the development and maintenance of various organs, including your heart, your lungs, and your kidneys. And deficiency has been linked to many neurodegenerative diseases through the years. Now, perhaps most notably, vitamin A is necessary for proper growth and development of babies when a mother is pregnant, because it contributes to the formation of the embryo and the fetal organs. In fact, it's suspected that nearly 7.2 million pregnant women per year in the United States suffer with vitamin A deficiency, and their health professionals don't know it, and they don't know it. Since our bodies can't produce vitamin A on their own, we need to obtain it from dietary sources. Foods like carrots, sweet potatoes, spinach, and eggs are rich sources of vitamin A. Now, it's important to understand that you can get these from food sources, and you should get these from food sources. But the problem is that some people don't have the right genetics, and I'll explain more about that here in just a second. The researchers at the University of Aberdeen realized that more research is needed to discover which other vitamins the hypothalamus is helping to regulate and control. But right now, this is a major finding in relation to vitamin A in the brain science world and then in the nutrition science world. I'll go so far as to add a bit of my own personal experience on a related topic here. Now, the related topic is in the field of nutrigenomics. Nutrigenomics is simply the study of how your genes affect vitamin formation, vitamin absorption, vitamin conversion, and vitamin assimilation throughout your body. Now, I have two particular gene SNPs of my own that keep me from absorbing and converting vitamin A efficiently. So I have to take higher doses of vitamin A than the average person because I have those two gene SNPs. Now, the thing is, I wouldn't be able to get enough of that vitamin A from my diet, so I have to supplement. Now, I don't supplement very much because I do have a very well-rounded, healthy diet. I make sure I get plenty of vitamin A in that diet. But I do have to supplement because of my genetics. Now, honestly, I never knew I had any issues with a vitamin A deficiency at all. I didn't think I had any symptoms at the time, but after finding this genetic deficiency and supplementing with the right foods and the right vitamin A supplementation, I simply felt better. I felt sharper, and overall, I was less stressed. Now, the genetic profile that I did on myself covers about 14 nutrigenomic gene SNPs specific to 12 critical vitamins that the body needs to function efficiently and optimally. When we look at nutrigenomics, we also look at diet and exercise style and so on and so forth. We can look at things like gluten intolerances. We can look at things like lactose intolerance, other grain intolerances, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, just with specific vitamins and minerals, there are 12 vitamins and minerals that 14 gene SNPs cover on this particular portion of the nutrigenomic profile. And if you've never had a profile like that done, I highly recommend it. The future is bright for this particular finding in this study. And here's why. Because I think we're going to find that the hypothalamus not only controls vitamin A, I think we're going to find that hypothalamus controls many other vitamins throughout the body. I think this new finding is a Pandora's box that's going to open a door and help us as scientists realize that the hypothalamus plays a critical role in the management and regulation of vitamins and minerals throughout the body, whereas previously we thought it was all relegated to the liver and kidneys. In the meantime, knowing your genetic profile can really help you begin to turn things around. And again, as I said, if you've not had that done, I highly recommend it. Next up, in the second study that I'm going to present today, is a discovery by NIH researcher Margaret Davis. Now, she and her colleagues found that stem cell formation within the hypothalamus plays a vital role in the aging process. Naturally, as we age, we produce fewer stem cells. But researchers found that by reintroducing stem cells in deficient cases, where the hypothalamus was deficient in stem cells, they reintroduced those stem cells to the brain. Not only does the aging process slow down within the brain, but it slows down throughout the body as well. And in some cases, not all, but some symptoms related to that low growth hormone in the hypothalamus actually reversed. Now, the researchers admit that much more research is needed to be done in this particular area, because putting stem cells directly into the brain just isn't practical in clinical practice. I totally agree with them. I think we've got to figure out a better way. How can we stimulate the body to produce more stem cells? If we stimulate the body to produce more stem cells, will they cross the blood-brain barrier effectively and go into the hypothalamus? All of these things have to be researched. They have to be looked at. I'll add two things here, though. An aging brain is susceptible and made worse by many, many factors. Okay. Everybody knows that. But I want to speak specifically about two of those factors that I think could be, we could develop approaches to now. Number one is the decline in growth hormone as we age. And number two is the decline in stress regulating mechanisms, putting someone into fight or flight response more than is necessary as they age. Both of those things happen as we, and on that latter one, if I'm not being clear, I want to clear that up. As we age, we have a tendency to go into fight or flight more easily. We have a tendency to be a little bit more fearful, have a tendency to have a little bit more anxiety, a little bit more panicky type stuff. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do as we age. It's just those defense mechanisms are breaking down. And I do think it points back to the fact that the hypothalamus is struggling. There's not enough growth hormone in the hypothalamus, or enough stem cells in the hypothalamus. And therefore we're losing some of that regulatory capacity. But of these processes, the two that stand out are the decline in growth hormone and then this decline in stress regulation as we age. And I think we can do something about this. At least clinically, I see that we can do something about this. And that's the good news, is that the brain can be trained to come out of and stay out of fight or flight, even as we age. We have many complementary and alternative therapies to thank for this: acupuncture, mindfulness, meditation, and even emerging in the past 20 or so years, sound resonance therapy. Now, that's something that we're just starting to do in the office, and the results have been absolutely amazing, where we're able to determine the exact frequency that a person needs in order to pull them out of fight or flight and keep them out of fight or flight. And then we go through a brain entrainment process to actually make sure that they stay out of fight or flight. The next good news is that growth hormones can be kept at healthy levels even as we age through supplementation. And when I say supplementation, I'm not necessarily saying take the expensive $1,000 a month growth hormone injection that you can do. In some cases, there are peptides, and then there are a lot of different peptides out there that either mimic growth hormone or they stimulate the brain to produce more growth hormone, and they're quite effective, actually. So the problem is that the FDA a few years back decided blanketly that many of the peptides that could be used were no longer suitable for human consumption. So it creates a little bit of a tension there in the functional and alternative medicine community, the anti-aging, the preventive aging community, as to what you can do. Can you increase your growth hormone with exercise? Yes, you can. Can you increase growth hormone with the right supplementation? To a degree, you can. But is it to the same degree that you could if you use the peptides? Not at all. And so anyway, there are options, some controversial and some not controversial. But are we seeing a movement, hopefully in a healthy direction, on how we can promote healthy aging by keeping growth hormones healthy? I think we are. At least in the circles I travel in, we're seeing that talk, and the options are plentiful, and they're starting to flow now. So the research may not be exactly where we want it to be in relation to tying these two things that I've spoken about, these two modifiable things as we age: decrease in growth hormone, decrease in stress response, or a disintegration of stress response as we age. We may not be able to tie them back to the research studies that I've talked to you about today, but I theorize that it's possible that they could work, and they do work. I see them clinically work on a day-to-day basis, and we should be looking into these different modalities, even though big pharma may not have controls over these areas. We still need to look into them, because I got to be honest with you, I see people struggling with the aging process. I see people struggling with emotional issues. I see people struggling with trauma issues and chronic depression and chronic anxiety, chronic pain, and all of these things tie in together. If we can manage stress responses, we can manage pain responses. If we can manage stress responses, we can manage mood and anxiety and trauma responses. If we can manage stress responses, we can manage aging, some of the aging process. Now, I'm not trying to keep it very reductionist and simplistic. It's not. It's multifaceted. But if these were two of the facets that we could hone in on now to start getting people relief, I think enough is enough with the suffering that we're seeing in the world. And I think people are rising to a level of consciousness where they're realizing that, yes, we want something alternative. We want things that actually help us live more fruitful, more healthy lives. And that's what I'm talking about here. So anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Maybe we'll continue that as we go through this anti-aging series. But for now, that's all I've got. If you're interested in the genetics at all, which I hope that you are, reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Dr. Brian G. Brown, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. We'll talk about options, so on and so forth. So as usual, most informed, most trusted, and most grateful you spent this time with us today. Until next time, stay in the zone. I'm Dr. Brian Brown.